Hey, what's going on, guys? This is Destiny Heroic, and I'm coming at you today with a new deck profile. It's not exactly new, it's a deck that I've been using for a while. But first, before I get to that, I want to give you a little update on my New Year's contest. Currently, it's still on the go. I haven't reached the, at the time of this video, I haven't reached the 1,350 subscriber deadline. But the answers are still coming in, and I really appreciate the attention I'm getting on this. So hopefully we can get to the 1350 mark and end the contest and give away some mats. And speaking of mats, I've added to my collection. I have now, you can only see one of them, but there are two of the Blaster Joker sneak preview mats available now. Which will be included as, with the selection that the winner can choose from. Moving on to the deck profile, as the imagery suggests, this is my Deletor deck. Deletor was not a deck that I was planning on building, but I basically pulled enough of it that I was able to build it without too much difficulty. So let's get right into it here. Obviously, the two grade 3s that I'm focusing on are Oxes and Zale. Oxes is the like the starter deck one in Japan. Counterblast 3 Deletors, Soul Charge a guy on your field and delete the Vanguard. And then if they want to ride over the Vanguard and recover from the delete, they have to discard something first. So it's really it's a great card. Oh yeah, and he gains 10k when he deletes something too. So it's a great card. It's almost guarantees a lot of either damage or a loss of hand presence on the part of the opponent, which is really useful. The cost is pretty heavy, but there are ways around that, which I'll get to in a minute. The other guy is Zale. He is the Legion Deleter. He legions with another Deleter, which I'll show you in a minute, who has his own purpose. But when you Legion, Counterblast 2, discard a card, and delete the opponent's Vanguard. They don't have to discard something if they want to ride over that deleted Vanguard, though. So that's useful. Basically, what you want to do is ride Woxes first, or Oxes. I want to call him by the Japanese name. Oxes first, delete the Vanguard, recover some damage, and then ride into this guy and delete them again. You can, that's ideal, the ideal way to do it. You can ride this guy over top of himself a couple times. It's just that my preferred method is to go Oxes and then finish the game out with Zale. So speaking of damage recovery, I'm using 3 copies of the starter, Igor. Basically, when you delete the Vanguard, you put him in Soul, draw a card, and unflip a damage. So he doesn't cost you any card presence, but he does recover a damage, and he has to be on the field. So basically, that means that Ox's heavy 3 counterblast cost becomes a 2 counterblast cost, and you don't lose any card presence, which is pretty good. It lets you keep up. It lets you delete at least twice during one game, which is very powerful. So I'm using a full 3 copies so that I can draw into extra ones. For grade 1s, obviously 4 null guards. Nothing really to say about that there. I'm using 2 of the 10k attacker. I really had to cut into my grade 1s and 2s to make room for the 3 starters. So there's only 2 of this guy. The reason I like this guy is because he's a 10k attacker at grade 1. So if they're deleted, it's going to draw out at least a 15k shield. And continuing on, I'm using the Soul Blast 2 and draw a card. I'm not even going to bother trying to pronounce a lot of these names, so I'll just talk about their effects. These guys are really good in a Legion-centric deck. And between the Legion and Woxes, you will pretty much always have enough soul to use this card's effect. So he's a +1. You don't really need to have a soul in this deck. So he helps fill up the drop zone for the Legion, and he draws you into more cards. So that's really good. And for Woxus, you can play him out, draw a card, and then put him in the soul for Wox's cost. So he's really useful in that regard. I'm using 3 of the back row Deletor guy. So if the locker guy. The opponent's Vanguard is deleted, and this guy boosts and hits the Vanguard. You can lock a rear guard in the front row on their side. So this is just one of the ways to put pressure on an opponent, because one of the best ways to deal with it being deleted is to either no guard or no guard. And this kind of makes a no guard more painful, and it can maybe draw out some early no guards or something like that. So that's all my grade 1s. For grade 2s, I'm using the Legion mate for Zale, which is Gale. If the opponent's got a deleted Vanguard, then when you play him, you can lock a rear guard in the front row. Unfortunately, deleters can only lock cards in the front row. They can't touch the back row, which is a bit of a weakness, but it's all about limiting their offensive options. And if they have a deleted a locked unit in the front row, they can't boost it and they can't attack with it anyway, so it's not a big deal. I'm using 4 of the 12K. This will draw out a 15 card guard when they're a 15,000 shield when they're deleted. So there's nothing really to say about that. And 4 copies of the damage unflipper, which can help support the high cost of Woxus and Zale. Nothing really more to say about that. And for triggers, obviously 4 heals. I'm running 7 crits and 5 draws. The reason I went up on draws is because Zale and Woxus have high costs, which can cost you hand cards. So the extra draw helps you draw into the it helps you draw into cards to replace the ones that you use for the cost. It also helps you draw into your extra starters for use with your damage unflipping. So that's the deck, and I've had quite a bit of success with this. I haven't won a tournament, but I've played it in 1 tournament, and I did top that tournament. Lost in the finals against Brawlers, but that's okay. Yeah, let me know what you think, and if you have any suggestions on how to build this deck differently. Notably, the card that I mentioned in my contest, I've not included in this deck. So if you think I'm wrong about that, let me know in the comments. And yeah, thanks for watching. Peace.